care of Puerto Rico than any man ever. We have $91 billion going to Puerto Rico. We have $29 billion to Texas and $12 billion to Florida for the hurricanes. Puerto Rico has been taken care of better by Donald Trump than by any living human being.
The president today continued his gross, shameful vendetta against the people of Puerto Rico, working behind the scenes to reduce aid from Congress and lying over and over again in the most egregious way possible about the money the island has been given. So to be clear, so far, Puerto Rico has received $11 billion in aid, not the $91 billion figure the president keeps repeating. In a tweet rant this morning, he raged about a Senate aid package that failed to advance yesterday, pitting the Americans in Puerto Rico recovering from a disaster that killed 3,000 people against the capital F farmers who are somehow going to suffer if Puerto Ricans get assistance. Hours later, White House Deputy Press Secretary Hogan Gidley went on our air to say the quiet part loud about, quote, that country.
They have not come to $91 billion with all we've done in that country. They have had a systematic mismanagement of the goods and services we've sent to them.
Well, that country is our country, and the people there don't get to vote for president, but they do have to endure the one that we have.
You do have a mayor of San Juan that frankly doesn't know what she's doing, and the governor, they got to spend the money wisely. They don't know how to spend the money, and they're not spending it wisely.
And joining me now is that mayor, Carmen Yulín Cruz, the Democratic mayor of San Juan, who joins me now. Mayor Cruz, good to have you on. First, let's start with just the basic facts here about what kind of aid Puerto Rico has gotten and what kind of aid and assistance and support Puerto Rico needs.
Well, first of all, the president lies when he says Puerto Rico has received $91 billion. That is just not true. It is more in light of $11 billion to $13 billion. But of course, this was a devastation like we had never seen before, close to 1 year without any electricity, a loss of 3,000 lives. Currently, today, there's about 30,000 homes which don't have appropriate roofs. They either have the tarp or the blue roof. Suicide rates have gone up. There are roads and bridges that people are traveling on that are not good for our population. And right now, and what we're talking about is $600 million that are needed to feed the Puerto Rican people. 1.3 million Puerto Ricans out of the 3.2 million total population receive some sort of nutritional assistance or food stamps. So what the president is doing right now with this huff and puff, because he's been unable to get the job done, is that he's literally delaying people's ability to put food on the table.
The president has long sent a lot of insults your way since the days after the storm. He called you crazed and incompetent just today. Do you think he has it out for the Puerto Rican people? Does he have a vendetta against the people of the island?
The president had a golf course here, which many people may not remember, and it went bankrupt. I don't know if that is the root of his vindictive behavior towards Puerto Rico, but is also insensitive, and he's also prone to classic Donald Trump temper tantrums. If he doesn't get what he wants, he will try to put people down and take away the most basic thing. That happened to 800,000 federal workers when a couple of weeks ago, he just literally said, I'm shutting down the government. Why? Because I don't get what I want. And now he's doing something that is also classic Trump. Rather than bringing people together, trying to pin people against one another. Aid should not be weaponized. It should not be used to divide. It should not be used to put people against each other. There is a reservation, the Pine Ridge Reservation, which also is in dire need of federal assistance, and they're not getting it. My question is, why does it seem like it's always people of color, people that are in states or cities that are run by Democratic incumbents, or people that just don't think alike? An insult from President Trump is a badge of honor. Why? Because it shows that I am nothing like him.
There's an argument that's been made by the White House, but I think also across the ideological spectrum about some of the more structural problems with governance in Puerto Rico and administration. It's particularly true of PREPA, which is the utility company. There's been questions about the oversight board, which essentially has a kind of veto over policy because of the Puerto Rican debt. What do you say to people that say, look, more aid won't help unless there are structural changes that create a sort of logistical capacity to actually make lives better for Puerto Ricans?
Well, three things. One, Puerto Rico is a colony of the United States. Calling it a territory, it's a euphemism. That is what allows the president to speak the way he does. Number two, yes, there are structural situations that we have to deal with, but this is kind of one of those times when you have to fix the plane and fly it at the same time. If there's a plane that on midair is going wrong, the pilot just doesn't say, there are some structural problems on this plane that we have to fix. No, you have to make sure that it gets into safe port. Now, the Fiscal Control Board is colonialism at its most raw way of looking at things. It can actually, and look, I don't see eye to eye with the governor of Puerto Rico, but he was elected by the people of Puerto Rico. And this Fiscal Control Board is putting austerity measures that are reducing the ability of our students to be educated, which in turn will feed more the cycle of poverty in Puerto Rico. It is threatening to reduce pensions, and also it is moving our PREPA, which was very, very sick and very ill-structured before the storm. It is moving it in terms of putting it into private hands, making a monopoly out of it. So there are structural things that need to be changed, but we need to move along and make sure that people don't die and that there is a population to deal with this.
All right, Mayor Carmen Yulín Cruz, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.